Righto, we're down here at DMF. We're going to be getting the power hooked up in the Caravan today. So if you guys watch the Fraser trip, you know that I really struggle with power in the van, just with the system that's in it. It's only 200 amps of AGM power, so really 100 amps of usable power. And we just flatten that, and then we'll flatten the truck as well with 4 of us in the van trying to keep everything going. So I'm going to run you through what I've bought, a new company that's come on board that's helping out with a bunch of stuff with this caravan, especially with it being one of these import caravans. They do a lot for these caravans, so I'll run you through what they're giving us as well for the power install. And yeah, so let's run through all this gear. Righto, so I bought LOVELLS, I can't even pronounce it, LOVELLS Eclipse solar panels. So I've got running these on the Bush Company rooftop tent on the F truck, and they've been really good. So I've got them, we've got 4 of them, so we're gonna have 800 watts of solar going on the caravan roof, which will be absolutely awesome. We've got up there now 400 watts, but it's an older style panel, so we're gonna get rid of them and yeah, swap them out for these new ones. I bought this VICTRON 3000 120 amp multi plus 2, this sucker here. So I'll give you a look at that in a second. We'll unbox this thing, but that's essentially going to give me that's a 3000 watt inverter, but it's going to be 120 amps of AC charging coming in as well when we're at caravan parks or whatever we're doing. And we've got the DC to DC. Some guy paid $520 for this about 3 years ago. Still in the box, hasn't been used. He said bought it on Facebook Marketplace. These big suckers that we have from LSP, deep cycle lithium battery, 200 amp hours, and we have 3 of these. So we're going to have 600 amp hours in the caravan. And then we've also got a VICTRON battery monitor, so that'll give me my voltage percentage and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going some big submarine technical system because I just don't need it. I just need to know how much power is in the batteries. And I'm waiting for the MPPT, that'll be here in the next couple of days. I'll have to put that in myself because I was struggling to find one. Everyone was out of stock, so I found one on eBay. So that company's shipping that up from Victoria at the moment. So once that's here, then I'll install that myself at home. Dan's just going to have the wires and everything there ready for me, and I'll just basically plug and play. But yeah, that's everything that's going in the van today. So Dan's about to get on the roof and start ripping off the solar panels. I'm going to get inside and start ripping everything else out. So I wouldn't say that I'm a qualified electrician. I wouldn't be far off Dan. I'd say I'm a 3rd year apprentice.
Are you serious?
is my 12 volt knowledge, but yeah, want Dan to teach me some other stuff today, especially about lithium and what you should do with lithium if there's anything different against AGM and stuff, putting those batteries in. It's just the finer details that I don't really understand with some 12 volt stuff, especially when you're doing like 600 amps and you've got a lot of solar coming in. And yeah, but 3rd year apprentice I am, so we'll see how we go. While Dan's fishing, we're gonna open this VICTRON, have a gaze at it. That's massive, eh? Up in the back end of it. So it's a multi plus 2 12 volt 3000 watt inverter, 120 amp charger, AC transfer capacity 32 amps, inverter 230 volt. So built pretty solid. So that is the new inverter that's going to power the van and also do our AC charging into the batteries when we're hooked up to mains power. So these panels have been really good. I think I've got the 120s or the 110s on the rooftop tent. Actually, there might be 120s, I'm pretty sure. And they've been great. They put out, when the sun's out, they crank. So running with these again on the roof of the caravan, So you're going to rip those ones off, chuck these ones up there. So we'll be able to get 2 on this side, 1 across the back, and then 1 down the other side as well. So the LSP batteries, 12.8 volt, 200 amp, 2,560 watt hours. So maximum charge current, 100 amps. Recommended charge current, 10 amps to 60 amps. Recommended charge voltage, 14.6 volts. Discharge, max continuous discharge current, 200 amps. Peak discharge current, 300 amps. Recommended low voltage disconnect, 11 volts. Got 3 of them bad boys going in the Caravan. If LSP didn't come on board, I would have been just going with King's 200 amp lithiums, because that's all I could afford for the van at this very current time. So, but LSP have come on board, and we're going to be doing some other awesome stuff with this company in the future here on the imported Caravan, the HQ17. So yeah, so this is their new range of batteries. They have a bunch of different sizes, not just 200 amp. So I'll have everything in the description if you guys want to check out LSP and what batteries they have and how much they are. So if you haven't seen the EnerDrive DC to DCs before, so this will do the vehicle charging. So we'll have the charge coming from the alternator, and it'll be a 40 amp charger as we are driving. So that's the DC to DC there. But you can also put solar into these as well. So that's our DC to DC charger from EnerDrive. I paid $300 for this thing on Facebook Marketplace. So get on, if you're looking to do a van, get on Marketplace, because there is so much gear on there that people buy and then they're trying to flog off because they either change their minds or their project doesn't go ahead, and you can save yourself potentially on a whole system, maybe a few grand. Alright, we'll just open up all the solar panels, get all them out. I was hoping that they'd fit straight into the existing brackets, but they missed by about 20 mil, unfortunately. So, but this is the Volta panel. So I'll give you the specs on one panel. So monocrystalline, peak power Pmax 200, WP power voltage 19.8, and the dimensions are 680 by 1500 by 35. So 200 watt panels. So Dan does like full, he does just auto electrical work, but does full Caravan power installs as well. So if you've got an older van that you want to upgrade the power, or if you've got a new van and you don't want them to do the power and you'd rather Dan do it, then you can definitely come down and get Dan to do the power install for you. So we'll come up into my van, see what we've got going on in here. So I've just pulled the table and everything out. So there's our 2000 watt inverter, 4000 watt peak. I've got that Dometic charger in here. This is what the van had standard. So Dan's going to go through and just have a look at what some of the wires do. I'm going to tidy up all this rubbish down here and whatnot, but we'll probably be putting the VICTRON in here. And then on this side, we've got the these are all grand lead crystal batteries that are in the van. So we'll be putting 3 lithiums in here. I hope I can fit 3. We may have to pull that internal gusset out down there for the chair, but get rid of this old little solar controller just here. Rip all this out. 3 big lithiums, 600 amps, and then we'll probably screw the MPPT in here as well once we get that from VICTRON. So since Dan's my 3rd year apprentice, I'm going to give him a new little black book trick. So you get some fishing line. This is how I used to debadge cars. And if you got something stuck on like this bracket is with sticker flex, run the fishing line through the back of it. Just make sure you get some strong line and just take your time, and then back and forth. And you can actually cut through the sticker flex instead of trying to pry it off. Works a treat. Cheers to the legends down at Hot Tackle that just gave me some fishing line to do it. You're doing good, apprentice. You're doing good.
Thanks, boss.
You can see the fishing line, how it just kind of, this will focus, how it cuts through, just like that. Saves you trying to pry it, or trying to pry it off, but then I said, no, let's get some fishing line and cut it off. One bracket done. Dan's starting to remove bits and pieces out now, so we'll get all these breakers and everything out, and then we'll remove the solar controller. We'll remove these old lead crystal batteries they are in the van here, so we'll get all those out, and then we'll start placing the new batteries, run some new wiring and bits and pieces, and there's 5 cents. And then we'll go ahead and get all this stuff out. Dan's going to run a bunch of new wires that we need, some new heavier wires for the 3000 watt inverter. So Dan, in your expert opinion, do you think this stuff was wired up here or China?
No, China.
China?
China. Had a guess?
Do you think they did an okay job for China?
For China.
China.
Some of Dan's systems look absolutely sick. Using all the track and stuff he uses, they look so tidy and so sweet. Two very heavy, they're very heavy, Dan, batteries.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So are these two different batteries? Regulated gel battery and the other one's lead crystal.
Oh, yeah.
Stitched up. That's crazy. Yeah, so they're two different batteries. China.
You know, China.
So they're just giving us basically whatever they had on the shelf on the Friday afternoon. So just pulled out both batteries out of the van. We've got an all grand lead crystal battery here, and here we have a valve regulated gel battery. So that's probably contributed why the power wasn't charging very well. And yeah, because I don't know the different types of batteries, those two, one gel, one crystal, I'm not sure. So you're gonna have to put a strap over them, or?
No.
Because they're not gonna move?
They are snug.
I'm pretty good with the tape measure, I told you, 3rd year apprentice.
Yeah. You don't have to pull them back out now so you can get the battery cables through the wall.
But they're so snuggly.
Oh no.
So where are you gonna put the DC to DC? Because obviously all the cables are already here for that.
Yeah. I think we'll make it a little recessed panel.
Okay.
That'll just mount in between our supports here.
Yep.
Suspend it just above the batteries.
Righto, okay. And then I'll open the seat and I can read it. And
Exactly.
yep. Sweet. We've got the VICTRON Multi Plus 2 going in there, just pulled out the inverter and whatnot. So should fit in there pretty snug. The battery's going in over there. So just a matter of doing all the fiddly stuff now. So I'm going to be leaving Dan to it very shortly because I've got to go back to work tomorrow. So and then we'll come back on Thursday and can run through everything with Dan. Look over the solar panels on the roof, all the batteries and that. Get all, yeah, see how everything looks. So. Righto, so we're currently at Dalhousie Hot Springs. So I'm going to give you a look at the power install now. I've been using it for about 4 weeks. So let's go through basically everything that we did down there with Dan, and the LSP batteries and the VICTRON stuff that we all installed. So give you a look in the van here now. So down in here, one thing I have noticed that we probably didn't pick up on when we did install, when Dan put this in, but the flex the flex in this seat, I was trying to wonder why the power kept just like intermittently. I thought it was a bad earth, but it's actually just touching the breakers when the girls were sitting on the seat here. So I've just got to lower this down probably about another 5 mil, just so that way the flex from this plywood doesn't push down on these little breakers here. So they're pretty far down, but it was just enough when the girls would actually sit down, it would just touch the breaker. So I'm going to lower them down, but this is what we've done. So we've got the LSP batteries underneath here, and then we've got our breakers up here for the control panel, the vehicle, and the solar controller. So everything's right here where I need it. Got some big cables running the batteries, and then we've got a cable tray just down there which runs back across that way. So that's essentially what we've done underneath the seat there. But yeah, in the Black Series Caravans you can fit 3 of the 200 LSP lithium batteries under here, very snug. They just slid in perfectly, so that's good to know. So down in here I still do need to do some other work in here, because I was in a hurry before we come onto this trip, so I needed to just get things in and just get it done. So I got the 150-100, actually bought the wrong one. I was supposed to get the 150-75, but I bought the wrong one. But anyway, I can put more solar to this in the future if I want to, but this is good. This has got Bluetooth, so I just got the VICTRON app and I can see what solar's coming in. That's all I really need. Got the inverter mounted down in here, and I do have to clean up some of the old wiring from the old system, which is still down in there, and I do have to mount the DC to DC. It's working right now where it is. I just didn't get time to fit this out with timber and stuff how I needed to get it done, but gonna get all this tidied up when I get home, redo this bracket, turn this around, and then mount the DC to DC up here as well. But yeah, we're in a time crunch, but essentially this is what we've done. The inverter, 3000 watt inverter, 120 watts of AC charging, the big dog VICTRON solar controller, and the DC to DC by drive down in there. Got the big cables just there running back that way, and then Dan's got it all nice and neat in this cable tray. So yeah, that's essentially what's been done under the seats. So with the screen monitoring, this one here still works, but I also need percentage with lithium. So this is just given the current, the energy, and the power, the voltage. That's the basic system that comes in this. But we've installed the little VICTRON monitor up here, which is all I need, and that's also got to me phone, which I'll show you now how that works. I just got the VICTRON app, so the smart BMV controller just connects straight to it. Works really well. 71%, gives me all the information I need. Watts, amp hours consumed, history of everything going on. No hassle with this stuff. It's been the most seamless, like, sort of power system thing I've ever kind of used out of everything. The solar right now, I just cleaned the solar panels, so it's a 1034 right now. So that's what we have coming in, and then I can check the history. And then we had we had pretty much rain all these days just recently, and then we had like this 7-day one where I generated 2.43 kilowatt hours of power, 2.31 kilowatt hours. So as you can see, I've done had some pretty big amounts of power coming in through the 800 watts of solar. But we've had cloud for the past couple of days. Hopefully today will be a big day. So with most of the vans switching, all the cables that run to all the power points, all that stuff is still the original HQ17 stuff. Basically, we've just boosted up the power that we have in here, and then the cables connecting everything from under one seat to the other. So all the switches just here all work the same. So these are all for outside. All the downlight, strip lights, the power to switch everything on. Everything still functions exactly the same as it did before, but now we just have way more power. So the hot water system's all the same as the original HQ17. So yeah, essentially the only thing we've changed is 600 amps of lithium, DC to DC, the MPPT, the inverter, the AC charger that's already inbuilt in the inverter, and the little monitoring screen, and the solar on the roof. But I'd say after using the VICTRON stuff for the past month, I would really consider putting that stuff in my next canopy setup. EnerDrive stuff's been awesome, no dramas with it. It's just configuring the Simarine that can be a bit technical. But other than that, it's been really good. The VICTRON stuff, I just think that you get better bang for buck. Instead of buying an AC charger and an inverter, I think it's priced a bit better, where if you just buy the 3000 watt inverter with the AC charger built in, you're getting more AC charge coming into your batteries, but then you've also got a bigger inverter as well. So, and I think they're about $2,200 for that inverter, so pretty well priced. And then having the Bluetooth stuff just makes it easy on your phone. I can see how much solar's coming in. I can see what percentage the battery's at without having to have a whole screen and everything in the van. So if you're trying to do a really good system but on the cheap side of things, and you don't need all the screens and all the hard install stuff, the VICTRON Bluetooth stuff has been working really well for me. So that might be an option for your van in case you want to do that. So here at beautiful Dalhousie, went for a swim yesterday, went for a swim this morning. It's really nice. Did a sunrise this morning. So and then off to Oodnadatta tomorrow morning, trying to chase the rain. There is rain ban coming through in the next couple of days, which we're not too happy about. So as you can see, the truck's pretty. The truck in the front of the van. It's not as bad as what I've ever had it dirty, but it's definitely was sloshy in some places, and in the past couple of weeks it's been pretty wet out here. You can tell here on the ground like how muddy it was. I'm going to start dropping some files and stuff onto the computer and then probably go for another swim, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.